Welcome to the Forever Cash Life Real Estate Investing Podcast with your hosts, Jack and Michelle Bosch. Together, let's uncover the secrets to building true wealth through real estate and living a purpose-driven life.
All right. We are in the mood for this podcast today. How you guys doing? My name is David Vangenhoven. I'm with the Land Profit Generator. And as you can see, I'm not Jack Bosch. So who is this David Van and what is he doing here? What the heck is going on? You're right. So all very good questions. So right now, Jack actually gave me a great opportunity to come on, talk a little bit about what we got going on, a little bit about how it's something that's extremely personal to me is about the blue collar people, the people without experience, without $1 million in the bank, and without this huge ecosystem of family members that have done it and everything like that. Like all this circumstances that successful people have already had before they get into real estate. I want to speak to you today because that was exactly me. Okay. So, obviously I'm a land flipper. I've done deals in 8 states now, and I've done them as low as $150 deals to as high as $300,000 deals. And, along the way, I've been able to get traction and really define what really makes me excited about this. And also, a part of my role helping with the Land Profit Generator family is helping other new students get started too. And a lot of that is dumbing down from the macro down to the micro, or understanding exactly how do these concepts work, number one, and how do they fit together, number two. Okay, so that is huge. And so if you're watching this podcast, if you've been listening to Jack Bosch for quite some time, you're really going to enjoy this because I have put together some notes. I've put together some tips and some tricks that helped me, a truck driver, get started and successful in land flipping too. So cool. Let's jump it off. So, like I said, I am also a land flipper. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, even though I don't do deals in Dallas, Texas. That's another misconception that residential real estate people don't quite understand, is just because you live somewhere doesn't mean you're doing deals there. Okay. So I am definitely not doing deals in the hottest market in the country right now. So no, absolutely not. But what we're going to do today is I wanted to talk a lot about reverse engineering counties with your marketing and your business model to get success early. Oh man, this is going to be cool because I really like talking about it, and it also helps me in my business too. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun, right? And so how do we get started with land flipping? Well, when I first got started with land flipping, I was driving a truck for FedEx, and yes, I was the best truck driver in the world, right? But if I didn't go to work, I didn't get paid. Okay. And yes, it was the best job in my family. Yes, I did love doing it. Yes, I was outside getting exercise. But I hurt my foot one day and it really scared me. And I am curious about you. I mean, you might be driving down the road and you might be edging towards retirement, or you really just don't like your job, or you're not having security, or you're not a quote unquote essential worker anymore. All these things might be closing in on you, and you might be thinking, man, I really want to get into real estate. Well, that was me too. When I found out that 90% of the first-time millionaires in America come from real estate, wow, that just blew my mind, okay? Because I had to isolate exactly, if I was going to do something, what was it going to be? Right? What was it going to be? And so I immediately knew it was obviously real estate, right? Because if 90% of first time millionaires can do it, I'm sure I can do it too. Okay. And not everybody who's super rich or wealthy and who is a millionaire is the smartest people in the world, right? And so that was really motivating me. I never felt intimidated that I couldn't make it. I just didn't know the platform. I just didn't know how I was going to get started and where, right? So that's why I'm super excited for this. So, when I first got started, I did a lot of research, and that's how I also found Jack Bosch. Listening to this podcast, and I just felt a little too over my skis, a little too overwhelmed with houses. I did try to get started with houses. I did consider becoming a realtor. I did go to RIA groups. I did go to meetups, and I'll never forget. This is like 35-year-old David back then. I'm 39 now. And I was in this room, and they said, there is 65,000 registered real estate agents and investors in Dallas alone. Oh man. That's a lot of people. Okay. That's a lot of people. And I used to play 5 different sports growing up, and I love to compete personally and physically, but I do not like to compete financially. It's a lose-lose. I'm sorry, you can never convince me to risk it all against people that are more experienced, more qualified, more educated, more money in the bank, against somebody that's never done anything before. With 65,000 people. Oh my God, that really scared me. And so thankfully, it scared me enough to really just cross off multifamily and houses off the list. So what was left was land. Okay. And what really drew me in was really legitimately 2 things. Okay. One was that it was simple, easy, faster, cheaper than houses. I mean, that's a fact. I don't think there's anybody that's going to argue that. I mean, and we're going to go over some of that today. It's just bottom line barrel, simpler and easier than houses. I mean, with houses, like, you're scared that you're going to be running some copper, some plumbing, and somebody's going to break into the house overnight and just steal it all. Like I had a buddy of mine, I'll never forget. He had, I think it was $12,000 or $21,000 worth of copper sitting in this place, and some dude came in overnight, stole the refrigerator, stole the oven, and stole all the copper in the house. Oh man, that's scary, right? Because they are paying for that with cash. Okay, when they are fixing and flipping this stuff, they have to take money and they got to go buy it and use it, right? And then they got to go sell it, right? If anything goes wrong along the way, and that includes your inspector, your home appraiser, your realtor's not responding to emails, your buyer flakes out, the market tanks, there's a new president with new tax laws, there's new interest rates on your loan, there's a balloon payment coming up. Like, if anything changes, your general contractor doesn't show up, bada bing, bada boom, you are toast. And so thankfully, I realized that very early, okay? And with land, if you've been paying attention to this podcast, that should be motivating you about your why. Why do you want to do this? Well, I don't want to run a Fortune 500 company. I don't want to have departments and department heads and board meetings. I don't want that. That's just way too much. I just want to go on my computer. I want to make some decisions. I want to do some marketing, and I want to close some deals. Okay. And that's land flipping for me. And so we're going to talk about some of the tools and technology and how to dumb that down and reverse engineer some of that stuff. Okay. And then number 2 that I found was so important in me making my decision about land was land doesn't work on Zillow. Okay. So land does not work on Zillow. There is no computer algorithm that's going to comp land. Okay. There's not. Okay. What I come into is when I call Joe Schmo up on the phone and I ask him, how much do you want for your property? Well, generally I say, how much do you need for your property? And he goes, well, Tommy down the road sold his for 21,000. I ain't going to take a penny less than 21,000. So his comp is off of what Tommy sold his property for. Okay. Now, what if Tommy sold his property 3 years ago and it's about 5 acres bigger? Okay. And it has road access, right? And it has a mountain view. All these things are just super critical to pricing. That there's no computer algorithm that can do that. So the amazing thing about Zillow is that I do believe it is crushing the industry in the housing market, is that you can no longer go into a neighborhood for, let's just say, $150,000 Zestimate, right, house, and offer them 40 grand. You just can't do it anymore, because somebody in that house, somebody related to somebody that lives in that house, somebody that works with somebody that lives in that house, has Zillow on their phone. They pull it up and they say, how much is he offering? Oh, let me check. Oh, it says here that your house is worth $150,000. Well, Zillow doesn't know that your plumbing doesn't work, your roof doesn't work, your this doesn't work. The only thing that matters is boots on the ground. So it is so hard to negotiate with people now because they're so empowered with these tools and technology for houses. Well, luckily for us in land, they don't have that. Okay. So you have to be a land professional to be able to comp land, to be able to market it and be able to sell it properly and fast. Okay. And so part of what I wanted to talk to you about is, how do I reverse engineer my business model on counties? And the things that I absolutely love about the land profit generator method is the process of picking counties. It is extremely detailed. It has to have so much population. It has to be a certain kind of highway structure. It has to have certain kind of population growth. It has to have a certain kind of population density. It has to have a certain kind of people per property. It has to have so much sales inventory. It is very organized. Okay. And the thing that I really love within that is that you can go after small deals or you can go after big deals. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about small deals. That's what I like to do because I like it easy, fast, and cheap. Okay. How does David get them easy, fast, and cheap? And typically I just checked in my VA this morning to confirm my prices. All of my properties that I have 51 properties right now that I got under contract for 15 cents on a dollar. Give or take 5 cents on a dollar, one way or the other. So either 10 to 20, but we'll just say 15. Okay. All of them. Okay. So how did I do that? So those numbers sound phenomenal, right? But are you going to get 15 cents on a dollar in Miami Beach? No. Am I going out into the Gobi Desert to get property? No. Okay. I don't want to be so far away from buyers that no one's going to buy my property, right? I don't want to be so far away, and I need enough attributes there to attract somebody to either build there or live there or buy it. Okay, so cool, yeah. So before we get into that, my role with the Land Profit Generator family is super cool and super fun for me. So if you've been in our Facebook group, it has over 16,000 people. It's called the Land Profit Generator Facebook group. Then you would have obviously met me. Hopefully you have. Hopefully you've gotten a DM from me, or we've exchanged some text or something like that, because my role is to simply support you. Support you. So that was my biggest, I should say, I'd say there was 3 concerns I had about starting in land flipping. And, one of them was not having support, because I felt like, yeah, land is easier and it's simpler and it's going to be cheaper and I'm going to get success faster, but I don't have any support. I'm a truck driver. Who am I going to talk to? That really scared me, obviously, until I found the Facebook group. Okay. So I do believe I'm one of the people that kind of like, started off as like a tadpole and like grew, started doing some deals, got bigger and better. And then I was able to give back and pay it forward. Right. So that support system that I was worried about having, I found that in the Land Profit Generator family. And that was just something I'm so thankful for still today. Okay. And obviously not having any money. Not having any money. I mean, I actually sat down my wife when I was considering doing this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm in, Jack, I'm in. I listen to the podcast. I get it. I'm never going to start houses. I'm never going to start multifamily. I mean, you need like $100,000 cash to get into multifamily. Okay. I didn't have that as a truck driver. And, my wife was a waitress until 4 o'clock in the morning. And if there's any guys out there that has a wife as a waitress until 4 o'clock in the morning, you definitely understand the pain and the anxiety you have of your wife driving home at 4 o'clock in the morning from work. That's about 40 minutes away. That is scary. I don't want to go back to that life ever. Okay. And so, and then, not having the experience. And so like, when I confronted my wife and I said, listen, this is what we need to do. We need to do this. And I want to so bad because this looks like so much fun. I can start out slow. I can start out small. This is a virtual thing. I can just use my computer. I can do this on the weekends. And my wife just like, she just shut it down, like I could see her face, when you're trying to talk to somebody and you can just tell they ain't budging. They are not budging. And I said to her, I just got really frustrated. And I was like, you know what, Denise, if we don't do this, what are we going to do? That's what I said to her. I was like, if we don't do this, what are we going to do? I got to know. And she says, I don't know. And when she said that, like that was a turning point for me that I'm hoping the people listening to this and watching this right now have felt in their life at least one time, because it's like scarring, it's like so important that you understand why you're doing it, right? Because for me, the reason I had to do it is because I felt like if I didn't do this, I was going to be stuck in a 1-bedroom apartment with a broken truck as a truck driver and a broken foot for the rest of my life. And I just never had aspirations to be like that. I always felt that I was smarter and more talented, and I deserved better. Quite honestly, I deserved better. So it's really an honor to speak to people that have experienced the same and got started and shared their stories with me. And so that's part of what I'm going to help with today is how to get started. And, from my position in the Land Profit Generator, what I do is I just play like a support role. Okay. I'm just kind of like support, right? And because of that, I get to talk to, I believe I talk to more land flippers than anyone in the world. I don't think there's anyone that talks to more land flippers than me. And so I get to hear about their story, and I get to hear about, what's motivating them and why do they need to do this? And, if they don't do this, what's going to happen? If they do not do this, what's going to happen? And so when I'm talking about reverse engineering some counties and some marketing methods later, man, this is for you guys. This is for the truck drivers. This is for the people working at Waffle House. This is for the guy that I'll never forget. His name's Courtney. He told me that he got his Trump bucks stimulus check thing to do his first mailer. I mean, that is commitment. Okay, that is commitment. And I said, you know what, Courtney, man, I am so pumped up for you. I think he's got 5 kids and they're all girls. And when I first spoke to him, we actually did a Zoom, and he was sitting on his dryer in his house. Was the only place where he had privacy. And I'll never forget. And I said, you know what, Courtney, man, I'm so pumped up for this because I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you, and I'm going to be a part of the process. And when we actually meet each other in the parking lot one time, you're going to give me a big bear hug and you're going to say, dude, this is the coolest thing I ever did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so excited to get down to Florida to meet him. But yeah, this is really fun. It's really cool. And so I love that experience and sharing that experience with everybody else in the group, because that's me too. That's me too. When I first got started, picking the right county, picking the perfect county was like overwhelming to me. It was really like I felt like I had to make it on my first mailer, like so bad, so bad. And so a good story is that I got a lead on this county, and it was a good friend of mine who I felt who was better at this than me. And he said, "Oh, dude, you got to mail this county. You got to mail this county." And we did the comps and everything, and it was like, okay, we can get, land is selling for $3,300 an acre in this county at the time. By the time I actually got enough courage and confidence to do a mailer, I sent it out and struck out, and I was devastated. I felt like I waited this long to do my mailer and I didn't get a deal. I was so bummed, man. I'll never forget. Every phone call I got, it was like, oh God, is this the one? Is this the one? And I just couldn't make the right comps right. Well, I went back to the drawing board and I actually called 15 people. And to this day, I still remember their names. And found out that one of the things that Jack Bosch says not to do is mail a county that's all farmland and oil rigs. Okay. He literally said that, right? And for some reason, it just kind of skipped over me. Like, I don't know why, it just kind of skipped over me. I just had this thing in my head, and you might be listening to this, and this might have happened to you too. So, we're brothers in this together. Like, this is super cool. So I found out, I go on Google Maps or Google Earth, and I'm doing satellite view, and I'm like, oh man, it's all farms, it's all oil rigs. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. And then what he also said, and this was the other key thing, I was using old data. Guys, if you take anything away from this podcast, take away that don't use old data. Old data bad. Old data bad. Okay. Old data bad. So the data we were using was like a year old at the time that we found out. And then I didn't mail for like 6 or 9 months or something like that. It was crazy how long I waited. And by that time, it was like a year or two by the time this data was even relevant, a year or two before it was late, right? By the time I mailed, land was going for $10,000 an acre. I thought it was going to go for $3,300 an acre. I didn't check my current comps properly. So nobody was accepting my prices. Okay. Nobody. And that really just, oh man, it really affected me, Out of the graces of God, I got this guy who said that he wanted, it was like a $300,000 deal. And I was offering him 32. Okay. I was offering him 32. And I closed him at 52. 52. So I got a $300,000 deal for 52. Okay. So that changed my life the very instant he hung up the phone. And so, yes, you can do it. Yes, there's going to be instances like me when I did everything wrong and still get a deal. Okay. So now I'm not saying to go ahead and target these kind of deals, but it does happen. I was devastated that I didn't get a deal. And then about 2 weeks into it, I did get the deal. And I was just like, oh, I felt so redeemed by this. I felt so validated. I felt so incredibly motivated. After that, that's when I really took it seriously. And so I've been obsessed since then of reverse engineering my business onto a county and making sure, does this county even fit my criteria on what I do in my business? Okay. So now I focus on $10,000 to $15,000 profit deals. And I'm looking for, a certain kind of average sale price. I'm looking for a certain kind of days on market. I'm looking where, it's like a lower population area. I'm not looking for rapid growth. In fact, anything over like 2% per year is like scary to me. Like I would never do that, That's not the kind of areas David is going after, because I'm targeting deals that I can get under contract for $1,000 or $2,000 and sell them for like $10,000 to $13,000. That's my business model. In fact, I got a whiteboard. I'm looking at just to the right of me. It's got 51 deals on there, and there's deals anywhere between $400 offer price all the way up to $5,000, and the sale price is anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000. So yeah, that's right about there. So yeah, those are the deals that I do. So I'm not looking for rapid growth. I'm not looking for properties that are prime real estate. I don't want that. That all equals competition to me. And that's when I go back to that meeting I had. I'll never forget. It was on Midway Road in Dallas. And when they said that there were 65,000 registered real estate agents and investors in Dallas. And so for me, I want to go after areas that fit my business model and fit the price point of the deals I want to do. And so that way I can project out how many deals I'm going to do, about what my marketing looks like, about what my avatar looks like, what my buying avatar looks like. I mean, I have so much assets for RV, mobile home, build your cabin here, ride your horse here, park your RV here, walk to the lake here, kind of listings. So when I say reverse engineer, I already know that in this certain economy, these are the people that's here. Okay. Jack does some module, says you are not the market. Okay. So maybe this is an extension of that. You are not the market. Okay. So when I take my business model and the properties that I'm going after, I'm making sure that my price points or the properties I want to sell are actually there. Does it have sales inventory? Okay. Does it have sales inventory? And so if you're watching this and you're like, I've never done anything like this, I've never been in real estate, I've never owned my own company. Well, guess what? Either have I. Okay. Like I said, I was a truck driver. My wife was a waitress. Okay. I never looked at spreadsheets before. To this day, thankfully, I have a virtual assistant that does my formulas for me. Okay. So no, this big operation that might be coming to your brain right now, just cut the cord, dude. Just let the balloon fly away. Just imagine all these scary thoughts coming to you. They're like balloons with cords attached. Just cut the cord, let the balloon fly away. Okay. That is not what I do. That's not what I want you to do. That's not what I would encourage you to do. I do not want to make this super complicated. Okay. I want to do deals where I'm under market, where I'm selling my property for anywhere between 60 to 70 cents on the dollar of what it's worth, and I want to make 10 grand, 10, 15 grand. How can I do that? Okay. I'm going to look at the demographics of this area. I'm going to look at the economics of this area. I'm going to look at the highway structure of this area. And I'm going to make sure that it's not in the Gobi Desert. I'm going to make sure, is there sales inventory here? Is there buyers here? And how long does it usually take buyers to buy property here? Okay. Because if it takes somebody, 6 months to buy a property, that's the same price as mine, I'm worried. I'm like, oh man, I need to lower my prices, you know? And so now I know what to offer. Now I know what to offer. So now I know what kind of properties I'm going to. So, I'm focused on those quarter acres to like 2-acre properties that are a dime a dozen in these areas where the economy is like, it's just, it's like, meh, I'm not looking for like Detroit where just this is tanking, you know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely not looking for like Colorado Springs or Denver or Dallas where everything's just like shooting through the roof. I definitely don't want that. I just want meh. Right? I just want meh. That's all I want. I want consistency. So I understand that if I get deals under contract, my comps are going to be easier and faster for me, right? I'm looking for easy peasy. Like I said, guys, I am looking for easy peasy. And so some of the things that we're talking about here is exactly how to do that. Okay. So consistency, congruency, no red flags, right? If I would have done that county, well, actually, I did do that county. I did not check off the red flags of the farms and the oil rigs. And number 3, the prices shooting through the roof. I did not check those 3 red flags off the list. If I would have done that, I'd have done a lot better in that county. Or I would have decided this is a bad county. This does not fit my criteria. So some things that really, really, really hurt me is when people don't pay attention to the details because yeah, that was me too, but there's just no excuse. You know what I'm saying? There's just no excuse. If you're going after areas, you can't put a square into a round hole. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. If you're calling the county and you're saying, can I put a mobile home here? And they're saying, no, you're not going to be able to sell that property to people that want to put a mobile home. Okay. So I learned that lesson too. I'll never forget. I had this property. It was literally 2 streets in from the city line. And so in the city, I couldn't put a mobile home and I couldn't park an RV. Well, I didn't know that. And so I was still posting it. And that's why I couldn't sell it. And then eventually I sold it for actually 10 times what I had it under contract for, which is really cool. But I just couldn't sell it to that marketing campaign that I was hoping for. Right. So when you're talking, I'm worried I don't have the experience. I'm worried I don't have the money. I'm worried I don't have the support. Well, guess what? The support is me and the Facebook group and the other Land Profit Generator family and the other investors there. There's over 16,000 people that are dying for somebody to ask the right question so that they can answer it, right? And like I said, no money. Okay, well, guess what? You can do a double close. You don't have to buy the properties with the contracts we're using. In fact, we encourage you not to. Okay, in fact, we encourage you not to. But if you're starting out, I've done properties as low as $150. $150. Okay. Right when I got started. And in fact, one of the properties on my whiteboard, I got for $150. I am selling that bad boy for about $10,000 to $11,000 on terms. Okay. Where I'm going to take $1,000 deposit and $200 a month and let it ride off into the sunset. Okay. It doesn't have to be super complicated. So, what is my passion for land flipping, right? What is my passion for land flipping? And why did I actually reach out to Jack? I mean, this is a pretty cool story. So when I started doing this, I felt so empowered that, oh my God, this is my way out of the rat race. Oh my God, this is going to work. This is awesome. I really felt like my business, my land flipping career was going to empower other families to do the same, right? So like once they got a property and they could build a house or they could put their trailer there or whatever, they're going to feel like leverage in life. They're going to feel like, man, this helped. And then maybe they're going to start. And so I felt like land flipping was just like this really cool way of empowering other people to get out of the rat race, just like myself. And so but I didn't have a network. I didn't have a Facebook group. I didn't have a whole team. I didn't have a whole company, and I didn't have 18 years experience like Jack Bosch. And so I actually reached out to Jack Bosch, and I chased him and his wife, and I sent them both like a, I don't even know. It was like 4 paragraphs of a DM on Facebook. All reasons why I wanted to help him in his business during his events and help support his Facebook group. And so we set up a call. And if anybody knows, if anybody's watching this, how serious is Jack? Jack is serious. There is very little gray area in negotiation with Jack Bosch. And that's something I love about him, but that's something that's very consistent that you can count on. He is very serious about his goals and what he's doing and what he's teaching, right? And so he leaned into the camera and he goes, and he looked up and he was looking dead me in the eyes and he goes, "What's your superpower?" And I go, "Oh, I wish you didn't ask me that." You know what I'm saying? I wish you didn't ask me that. Has anybody ever been asked, "What is your superpower?" You know, I'm curious about you guys, you know, how did you react when somebody asked you, "What is your superpower?" You know? And so, yeah, he asked me that. And I said, well, you know, I don't believe I have a superpower. I believe that it's my passion for land flipping to help people get out of rat race. I mean, I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I'm just so thankful for it. Like, I feel like I'm an ambassador or some kind of like, I don't know, cheerleader for it or something like that. And I just want to be a part of the process for other people. So that's what I do in the Land Profit Generator is I just help people get started. I help support them. And, you know, I just help answer some questions and stuff like that. And that's really cool and rewarding for me too. So, you know, and not having any money. Well, let's walk you down a scenario. Let's walk you down a scenario. If you did a mailer and your macro research checked out on this county, okay, and Jack Bosch teaches exactly how to do the macro research. There's not a better way. I mean, there's nothing I'm going to tell you that's any different of doing the macro research of a county. And then you're looking at, well, these are the kind of deals I want to do, that I'm comfortable doing, that I know I can market, I know I could sell. If I got a deal in this kind of situation, I would know what to do with it. Okay, so that's 1 and 2, right? If you went into a county with both of those things squared away, what would your confidence level be? It'd probably be like 1,000% higher than just sending mailers out and crossing your fingers and hoping you get a deal, right? So that's what I do. So like I said previously, reverse engineering your business model to your county and your mailer, right? Is there inventory of leads? If I go into a county and I'm looking up those price points, I'm not doing price points over 20 grand, 25 grand. That's not what I'm doing. You know, I want them, if I'm selling a property for 20 grand, I want it to be worth like 28, 30 grand. So that my listing is like cheaper than any other listing out there. Okay. So if I look up those listings, and it's like, you know, the cheapest property there is like $150,000. That's not my business model. That's not what I'm looking for. So the pressure of just making sure this works on my first mailer kind of goes away, because I'm making sure I'm checking off more of these boxes, right? That's what we want to do. You know, if you imagine like a spreadsheet, and you can imagine like check boxes on this spreadsheet, and it's like, you know, one of these check boxes is there deals that fit my business model? Yes. Okay. It's just like when McDonald's does, you know how much market research McDonald's does to pick where they're going to put the next location? A lot. Thousands of dollars. I'm talking huge teams and departments of determining where exactly, when somebody is sitting in traffic and they come to a stoplight, can they take a right-hand turn and pull right into the McDonald's parking lot? Yes. Okay, great. That's exactly where we want to be, right? So McDonald's is very successful because they're in the real estate market. Would you travel 4 hours out into the Gobi Desert to get McDonald's French fries? Heck no. But because it's right next to you, it's available and it's efficient for you. Yes, you will. Okay. So, and that's the same thing with my price points. I'm making sure that my price points fit the county. I'm not trying to fit a square into a round hole. Okay. And there is nobody better. There's nothing better about teaching you and showing you and explaining and holding your hand than Jack Bosch and the Land Profit Generator family. So yeah, that's really huge. So some of the things I'm looking for is, is there any kind of attribute about this county that I can put in my marketing? Is there anything in this county that I could put in my marketing? Is there a Walmart? Is there like a stadium? Is there a river or something like that? Is there something there? Because if there is, oh man, I can put together a marketing campaign on that bad boy to say, put your RV here, put your mobile home here, build your house here, and here's why. On the marketing is here's why they should pick it. And then, so you get them pumped up in the marketing, right? You get them pumped up and they're like, well, how much is this compared to everything else? And you're the cheapest one on the market. Boom. You got yourself a good deal right there. And that is all I want to do. I'm not overcomplicating it. That's all I want to do. So yes, I'm verifying that my deals are actually in this county. When I check up, when I look at my leads in this county, is there 600 leads or is there 6,000? Is there 50 leads or is there 6 million? Like, how many leads are actually in this county that fit my criteria, right? Is there something I can sell in my marketing? Okay. And will I be able to sell it for the price I want? Okay. If I have all three of those things, I am 1,000% more confident in that county. And so, that's what's really important to just understand is that when we backtrack things first, it's, yes, we do the macro research, and yes, we have like let's say we do our research on a state and there's 45 counties and we do our macro research and we see that there's 6 counties that fit our criteria, right? Okay, you got these 6 counties. Which one of these counties fit your business model and your marketing and the buying avatar that you want to go after and the property type? Now, do you want to pigeonhole yourself into one method like that? You can. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. And that's what I do, right? I don't want to mail a county. And, I just had a call with a good friend of mine, and they were doing, actually, this is a really good story to bring up now. They were doing a mailer and they were getting discouraged because the ranges that they were getting, they were going after $200,000 to $1.6 million properties. And I just shook my head. I'm like, why would you do that? Okay, why would you do that? And they just shrugged their shoulders and they didn't really understand why. And so, I'm hoping that they can watch this podcast and understand a little bit more about, what converts and what matters most. And you're not the market. And what I said to them was, the people that you're targeting right now, they're, Joe Schmo that works at 7-Eleven does not have a $1.6 million property. Okay, let's just be real. Okay, Fred the plumber does not have a $3 million property. Okay, the people that have those kind of properties and they're not using it, they obviously got money, because if they're not living on the property and they have that much equity or interest in the property and they're not even using it, Well, then who even knows what their net worth is, right? So those kind of people have a realtor, they have a CPA, they have a lawyer, they understand the market, and they ain't in no rush to sell it. So that's why Jack Bosch's method of the macro research and understanding how to pick these counties in inventory and property types and price points of the market value is extremely important, and you cannot discredit it. Okay. Now, if you are going after those kind of deals, yes, you can do it, but it's going to take you more marketing. Okay. You cannot expect to send 200 letters out and just score $1 million deal. Okay. Those sellers are not that motivated to sell because, they don't need to. Okay. Jack Bosch's method that he gives you on how to pick the right price points is super genius, because those are the common man. And right now during Corona, I get asked this question a lot. The market goes down, what happens? The market goes up, what happens? And I just answered this, was that, okay, if the market goes down, phenomenal, great, I can't wait. Because guess what? People are not getting loans for banks, and people are definitely don't have money coming in to pay for houses. They need to have a place to live, right? They're going to have to go somewhere. There's 35 buyers for every seller here in Dallas. And so if the market tanks, they're going to be looking for the primordial essence of real estate, which is land. They're not going to be buying multifamily apartments. Okay. They need an asset that works, that's consistent, that doesn't go up and down according to the day, like the stock market, right? And so if the market goes up, great, then the property value goes up, right? But land, for the people that are not watching this on camera, on podcast, land does not go up, and there's not the peaks and valleys, peaks and dips like houses, right? If you're ever looking at the market value and the days on market and stuff like that with houses, it's not like that with land. It's extremely slow curve, right? So it's either going to curve up very slowly or it's going to curve down very slowly. Okay. So now if you run into a county where the price of land is shooting through the roof in the past 2 years, like I did, you have a major problem. Okay. And you didn't do your marketing like I did. Right. So keeping like I said, the current data is extremely relevant and important to you to understand. Is there data? Is there property? Is there leads? Is there buyers in this county? Okay. Reverse engineering my business model on the county is like square one. Okay. So we talked a little bit about that. Let's get into some details, right? So, I'm making sure that the properties price points that I am going to sell at, because that's the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters. It doesn't matter the assessed value, this value, that. The only thing that matters, guys, is what are you going to sell the property at? What are you going to sell it at? Well, like what price points are you going to sell it at? And if you're going to be selling properties here for $20,000 and properties sell typically for 30, oh yeah, now I'm interested. Okay. But if I can't get enough leads to sell property for $20,000 because properties usually sell for 15, oh man, now I got a problem because I just can't afford to get properties at my price point. Okay. And then I'm going to check a little bit about the economics. And how I do that is I'm just kind of scouting a little bit. I'm just trying to see what is the resources, what is the attributes of this county. A good friend of mine, he's from Brady, Texas, and he was telling me, I was driving through there and he said, man, it's just everything changed after this salt mine left. And I guess there was like some salt mine or something like that plant there, and everything dried up. It just dried up. Boom. Real estate dried up, the jobs dried up, the schools dried up, people moved away. I was like, wow. So if I was looking at data from 2 years ago, I wouldn't have saw that. If I'm looking at data within the last 30 days, yes, I would have. Okay. So really understanding the economics, and are things changing? Is it consistent, right? Does it have road access, right? There's counties on the border of Texas and Mexico that I would never go after with a 6-foot pole, because there is nothing there. Yes, I guarantee you, if you sent mailers there, you're going to get deals accepted because nobody wants to buy it, right? They're trying to get rid of it. Nobody wants to live there. There's no jobs there. There's no schools there. There's no apartments there. There's no nothing there. Is that important? Heck yeah, it is, right? But if it's not there, I'm not going to be able to sell it, or at least for as fast as I want, for what I want, right? So, the marketing campaigns, and marketing is basically, how are you going to sell? How are you going to package this deal to the end buyer? Okay. And typically the deals I'm personally going after are deals where they're like an hour and a half outside the city. There might be a lake, but it's along like a major highway. And, there's some sporadic RV parks there, so that if an RV spot is going for $30,000, I can sell my property for 20 grand and sell it, boom, fast. I can market to those RV owners. Okay. We have a coach here who sells, flips land. And when he flips RV lots, he says he sells it within like 24 hours. Okay. I was like, wow, so fast, And because there's such a supply and demand on these things, that if I can sell a property that I can market towards these RV owners and it fits their price point, and part of the thing, like, there's, just because they go to an RV park doesn't mean that they want to be crammed. I mean, who wouldn't want to live on a 2-acre lot by themselves compared to an RV park? I mean, who wouldn't? If they got power, they got sewer, they got water, they're like literally 500 feet away from the lake. Oh man, that's a win-win for everybody. So that's very, some more details of what I'm looking for and what's most important. And so if you're new, if you've never picked a county, if you've never got into the program yet, these are some tips for you that if you don't have the experience level, and you're thinking, oh man, I don't have the money, I can't buy a $20,000. Well, guess what? You don't have to. Don't. Okay, double contract that bad boy, and find a buyer and use the buyer to close it out. Okay. If you're worried, oh man, I don't know who to talk to about this, I really want to ask some questions. Well, guess what? You know what? Contact me, okay? Because my name is David Van in the Facebook group. That's why there's 16,000 people there. Go to the Facebook group, join the land live or livelandclass.com next week to 10x your profits in land. How do we 10x our profits in land? There is some very, very specific details that go along with it. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're not in the Facebook group, why not? When are you gonna get serious about this? Just like me, when I set my wife down and I said, okay, if we're not gonna do this, what are we gonna do? So that's my question to you. If you're not gonna do this, what are you gonna do? Okay. So it's super cool, super fun. There's so many people to support. Okay. I hope you learned a lot from this. This is obviously my first time on the podcast. I really hope we get to do this more often. I'm really encouraged and motivated by the people that want to get started or just got started and just need a little bit of help. Just need a little bit of help, because that was me. I'll never, ever, ever forget going through the process myself. And when I actually learned how to do my mailer, I literally felt like a king of the world. I actually bought the mailer when I was at work and I was driving home, and I just felt like, yeah, get a mailer, And so I want that to be you too. I want you to do your first mailer. I want you to come back and say, hey, listen, David, this is what happened for me. This is what happened. This is the kind of deals I got. These are the kind of properties I was going after. That's super cool, super fun. Okay, guys. So, hey, listen, I had so much fun doing this. I hope you really, really got some quick tips and just kind of made the pressure go away, the anxiety leave about getting started, and just really felt more empowered. about doing your first mailer and reverse engineering. What are your goals in this county exactly? Because is there properties here to support it? Okay, guys. So that was super fun, man. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to see you guys again. Please come to the Facebook group, say hi to me. And I will see you guys in the Facebook group and in the event, livelandclass.com, 10x your profits, April 12th, Monday. I will see you there. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot.
Enjoyed this episode? Then make sure you like, subscribe, and post your comments and questions below the video. We're looking forward to hearing from you.